I wasn't a bad kid. I was actually a good girl, but I spoke up a lot, and I still do. It put me in a constant state of fight or flight, shaping how I saw myself and the world around me. We all have the power to rewrite our story. Hi, and welcome back to Living Your Truest Self. If you're new here, I'm Christina, a certified Jay Shetty coach, a full-time professional, a mom, a wife, and the oldest daughter of 10 siblings. Around here, we keep it real. We talk about the deep stuff, the messy stuff, the stuff that helps us grow into the most authentic version of ourselves. Today, we're talking about one of the biggest things that holds us back, the stories we tell ourselves. You know what I mean. Those little narratives that play on repeat in our mind. I'm not good enough. I'll always be this way. I don't deserve that. I'm not going to get anywhere in life. Let me be the positive voice in your head that reminds you those stories aren't facts. They're just thoughts. Like clouds, they come and they go. And you have the power to rewrite them, to unthink them, or to shift it into something that serves you. So get cozy. Let's talk about how to take control of our story and start seeing ourselves in a whole new way. I wanted to touch base on where did these stories come from? We don't wake up one day and just decide to believe that we're not good enough. These thoughts come from somewhere, maybe from childhood, past relationships, failures, or even society makes us feel this way. A lot of the time, they're not even our beliefs. They're things that we picked up from the world around us, and we've repeated them to ourselves for so long that they feel like the truth. I grew up in a way that was anything but ordinary, as I'm sure you already understood that by now. As the oldest girl in a family of 10 children, my voice often got lost in the chaos. I had opinions. I wanted to be heard, but in such a large family, there simply wasn't much space for that. My father, especially, didn't have the patience for my strong-willed personality. Yes, I've always had that need, the deep need to express myself, and often found myself in trouble for it. I wasn't a bad kid. I was actually a good girl, but I spoke up a lot, and I still do. And instead of being guided to channel my voice into a productive way, I was always made to feel like I was too much. That belief sank so deep inside of me. And at a young age, it was crushing. It left me filled with self-doubt, questioning my worth, and feeling like I had to constantly walk a fine line to avoid trouble. It put me in a constant state of fight or flight, shaping how I saw myself and the world around me. And as I grew up, I realized something. That belief wasn't mine to carry. Every day, I choose to rewrite that story, and I refuse to listen to that voice that says you're not worth it. And instead, I replace it with I am worth it. I am not just a pretty face meant to sit quiet. I have a voice that deserves to be heard. And if some people don't want to hear it, it's okay. Not everyone has to like me, just as I don't like everyone either. And that's the beauty of being different and living your truest self, is that you get to choose your circle. What truly matters is that I know my worth. I no longer seek external validation to prove it. Don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean I never fall back into old patterns of needing the validation of others or the need to feel liked. Healing isn't a one-day job. It's constant. There are days when self-doubt creeps in and when that little voice whispers the old lies in my head, and I just remind myself of how far I've come, that those thoughts aren't actually facts, and I ground myself in the truth, in the work I've done, in the present, and in the unwavering belief that I am worthy of love, attention, and respect, because I always have been. And I just feel like we all have the power to rewrite our story. Imagine if you had a friend who spoke to you the way you speak to yourself. If they constantly said, oh, you're not enough, or you'll never change, you always mess up, would you want to hang around with them? I don't think so. I know for sure I wouldn't. But then for some reason, we allow our own minds to talk to us that way. And the more we listen, the more we believe it. Rewrite that story. Rewriting your story isn't about ignoring your past. It's about deciding that your past doesn't define your future. I'll tell you something I wish someone had told me earlier. You get to decide who you are every single day. Others don't decide that for you. Not anymore. You don't have to be what you think others want you to be. You are not stuck. You are not too late, and you're not limited by who you used to be. You can't decide sometimes who you are when you're a child, but when you grow up and you realize that life isn't made by wanting to fit in, but by shining and being different, that's freeing. It's freeing to know exactly who you are, who you want to be, express it with confidence. It's so much more beautiful to find a confident person. Like when you see somebody that walks around, just give a simple example. Everybody dressed the same. And then you see somebody walking around in a different style, but wearing it with confidence. You're like, wow, who's that person? You definitely take a double take, because when somebody has confidence and isn't just trying to copy somebody, but just exudes it, it's freeing. It's beautiful. You can read it in their face. So, I totally think that it's freeing to let go of the past, and you can decide that for you. Everything we are, we choose. Yeah, everything we are, we choose. Let's say that again. Everything we are, we choose. If you know these stories aren't serving you, how do you actually start changing them? Let's break them down together. As you know, I always have those practical tips that I've used, and that's the whole reason why I created Living Your Truest Self, because I felt like there's a lot of people out there that have, I wouldn't say trouble, because it doesn't have to be defined as trouble. You don't have to have trouble fitting in, but you could have that little voice in your head that sometimes makes you feel like question yourself, or makes you feel unsure or uneasy. These tips are just to help you get along with life and how to bring your true self out. I'm going to give like a couple that all follow each other just to kind of get you out of that rut. Okay. So catch the story in action. Start paying attention to the negative thoughts that pop up. Write them down, because awareness is the first step to changing them. What's one negative story that pops in your mind? Write it down and then ask yourself, is this really true? Once you see that written on a paper, like, I'm ugly, look at it, and is it really true? Where did you learn this? Would you say that to someone you love? That's important. Replace limiting belief with something empowering. Instead of saying, I always fail, try, failure has taught me something valuable. And instead of I'm not good enough, say I am growing. And that is enough. Because good enough based on what? Whoever told you you're not good enough? And did they have the power and the capability? And do you want to be where those people are? Because anybody that will put that in your head is not good enough themselves to be listening to. Okay? Prove it to yourself. Take one small action that supports your new belief. If you're telling yourself I'm capable, do even a tiny thing that reinforces it. Like, I'm capable of making a delicious meal tonight, or I am capable of waking up and drinking a cup of water and starting my day off in a good way. Try something even tiny that reinforces it. This evidence builds confidence. And then last, surround yourself with your support. I always end up with this because your environment matters. Spend time with people who uplift you, and be mindful of what voices you let in your life. Social media, books, conversations. Unfollow anyone that doesn't inspire you. It's not about how many friends you have. It's not about how many followers you have. It's about who is in your life that counts. I firmly believe that following accounts that leave you feeling negative is just not worth it. Have you ever scrolled and been like, look at it, and then when you're done, you're like, oh, why didn't I even look at her story or his story? And you don't want to unfollow, but at the same, you know what? I unfollow all the time. I follow only uplifting things that, like, when I look at them, it just empowers me. It makes me feel like I'm going to conquer the world. That's who I follow. And then, of course, you have friends, you have family members. But if you're following even accounts that don't uplift you, unfollow them. Fill your feed with people that uplift you. So I want you to take a moment today and think about one story that you've been telling yourself that isn't serving you. Write it down and then rewrite it into something that empowers you instead. And if you feel like sharing it, drop it in the comments. I'd love to see what you're stepping into. If this episode resonated with you, hit the like button, share it with a friend who needs to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe. We're in this together, and you do have the power to change your story. See you next time.